Hello, and welcome to You Don't Need 10. Welcome back if you have been here before. Welcome if you are new. If you are new, my name is Katie Wyman, and I'm a mom to 3 children, an advocate for all of them and all of their needs. Most of the time, this blog is about my daughter, Paisley, who was born limb different. Today actually switches up a little bit. It's not about Paisley. It's not about anything limb different. I guess it might fall in the category of being different, but really it falls in the mental health category, which I talk about a lot as well. So if you're new at some point, you might want to go to youdon'tneed10.com to learn just a little bit more about us. You don't need to. I mean, you can figure out as much as you want or as little as you want. It's all completely up to you. I wrote a book a few years ago, September of 2021. I felt like I wasn't done telling our story, so I started a weekly blog. So every Tuesday, there's a new blog post. I think today is 149. So every week on a Tuesday for our 149 weeks in a row, there's been a new blog post. In April of this year, I started trying to do these audio recordings. It's been incredibly hard to keep up. I'm really excited about today's blog, so I'm going to have the audio recording ready today as well. That's not normal. In fact, the last few weeks, I haven't had a chance to record them on time at all. If you're somebody that watches the podcast, you've noticed that I've been bouncing around in different locations, or maybe you've been able to tell the noise level when I'm in my car, if it's noisier, more background noise. Today I'm back at home where I belong, recording in the best place I've been able to find so far, which is my closet. But today, July 16th, 2024. I'm going to be talking about perspective. And this has already been posted to the youdon'tneed10.com website for today. So this week is going to kind of piggyback a little on last week's post, as I wrote about perspective last week as well, but you don't need to have read or listened to last week's to get something out of this one. And it's a little off topic to our main theme here at You Don't Need 10. But I can kind of see that this might be becoming a series for me, as this is something I've been wanting to try and figure out how to write about for a very long time, but one step at a time. My post last week led me in the direction today for how to finally write about this topic, which is also mental health related. According to the Oxford Dictionary, perspective is a particular attitude toward a way of regarding something, a point of view. According to Merriam-Webster, perspective is a mental view or prospect. Like I said last week, basically my understanding after reading those is that the way you see the world is the way you choose to see the world. Same, I would say, also applies to people. I want us to think about the ways that we think about certain groups of people. For example, on today's list is hockey players. Have you ever heard negative comments about hockey players? I have, for certain. I am raising hockey players, am around many hockey players all the time. I frankly am sick of hearing about them in a negative reference. Have we ever stopped to think about the types of children that play hockey? Maybe we need to look at it from that point of view. Again, perspective. Maybe instead of saying they are all bad or naughty or loud or wild or whatever, maybe we should look closely at the type of child that plays hockey. Hockey is a non-stop sport. The entire time you are playing, there is no downtime. There's no break. It is game on the entire time. Even if you are not skating and you are on the bench, you are watching the game and ready to swap out with no notice. You are fully engrossed in the game the whole time. I want us to think about the type of child that is non-stop, go all the time. Let's entertain for a minute the idea that maybe a lot of the children that play hockey have some type of attention disorder. I know my son has ADHD, and by no means am I saying that all hockey players have ADHD. But maybe if we change our perspective, we can see some of them in a different light. Maybe not all hockey players are naughty. Maybe some are simply busy. Maybe they need to be nonstop. However, busy labeled children are often labeled as naughty. That again is perspective, how you choose to see them. My mom has told a story for many years about some boys in a Sunday school class. Years ago, there was a wild Sunday school class with many boys in it. The teacher assigned to that class was a mom of 3 girls, and there was constant complaining about this class and how awful they were. My mom subbed in that class one time and got a full grasp on what was actually happening in there. Her take on the class was that it was simply a class of busy boys. There was nothing wrong with them. They just needed to be kept busy and occupied. For several years, definitely the last 3 school years, I have heard how naughty my oldest son is. During his 5th grade year, I wanted to lose my mind with the number of phone calls that I got from the school. At least 3 times a week, or 3 days a week, I heard from at least one of his teachers. At that time, 5th grade was set up in the middle school campus, and they had 8 class periods a day that changed classrooms and no recess. Some teachers were duplicates, but it was 8 class periods. There just was not room in the elementary schools for them, for the 5th graders, and they had nowhere else to put them. Some days you couldn't even pinpoint to me what he was doing wrong, just that he had been a lot that day. Some days I asked for specifics, the play-by-play to try and help them get to the root of their problem. And more than once, I wasn't even sure what he had done and even asked, "What specifically do you want me to parent for him today?" I never heard a single nice thing about him that year. Later in the year, towards the end, I visited with one teacher, and she said things had gotten better after they started giving him chores. Yes, please load him up. That's the issue. He cannot sit still in your classes. He probably is being loud. He probably is a distraction to others. And for certain, he is easily distracted himself. Several times that year, he asked me what he had to do to get his teachers to like him. Now I fully realize the teachers have a lot on their plates and this is not on them. At the time, that was the setup. There wasn't much wiggle room available. They have many kids they need to deal with, and it's up to him to conform to them. As impossible as that may be, that's the way the school system is set up. But again, the way you look at him is your perspective, your choice. Do you see the naughty boy or the busy boy? I'm the mom, but I think he's phenomenal. He needs to be redirected often, but he's the hardest worker, the most helpful, and has a good heart. He can hold a conversation with adults, has been able to do that for a very long time. He can mow the lawns. He can mend fence and prepare for concrete with his grandpa. He can do all the chores and make his own food. Just last week at the family cabin, he did as much cooking as possible. More than once, he told his grandma to take a break. He could cook for everyone. "Grandma, I've got this." Last night, Russell was out of town and I opted to not make supper. It was free for all night, and anyone can have whatever they want. He opted to make himself supper and offered to make me some as well. He offered to make his mother supper. The summer after his 5th grade year, I was downtown. It's quite a long story how I got connected to this lady, but the short version, I'm downtown and she realizes I am Jet Wyman's mom. I have never met her. She introduces herself to me and tells me that my son is amazing, something I almost never hear from someone, especially someone that works at the school. She tells me she's a para in the special education room, and my son Jet helped out there this past year. That was news to me, and I had no clue. She then proceeds to tell me there was a boy in that class that believes he's a famous singer, and he believes Jet is one of his bodyguards. Jet apparently walked this child to class often and played the part. That right there is what matters to me in life. I've taken 2-week road trips with my child. I know he can't sit still, and he has trouble focusing, but at the root, he's not naughty. He is just not capable of conforming to those situations. Again, it's all perspective. It's all how we choose to view things or view people. Jet's 6th grade year. He had gotten into the ASB Academy, and it was still being run as it was intended to be and had some wiggle room. The principal that year was amazing and cared for Jed and understood him. It was a great year. I know he helped out around the school with chores, etc., but they internally made it work, and my phone calls were pretty minimal unless he actually had done something naughty, which he does do. This past year was back to the very crowded and teacher shortages, so there just wasn't the opportunities or wiggle room for him. Another struggle year. Also an eye-opening year into the perspectives and the way that my child is viewed. A lot of it I already knew or had heard before during his 5th grade year, but frankly, it's getting old. The perspectives and formulas need to change. More than once this year, from more than one teacher, and both on campus and off campus, I heard, "We love Fridays because all the hockey players are gone." That was something that was said to me directly. I also overheard it. It's also said in front of children and even in the hockey building that sees upwards of 500 hockey players inside its walls each season. Please tell me, when children, hockey players, hear a statement like that, what are they supposed to think about themselves? How are we making them feel about themselves? There's been a stigma for decades that ADHD kids are bad and that ADHD is a negative label and a negative connotation. Why does that have to be the case? Did you know that ADHD people are go-getters? They are creative, they are resilient, they are risk takers, they are conversationalists, and a popular trait, one you already know, they have lots of energy. Did you know that Michael Phelps and Simone Biles have ADHD? 2 major Olympic athletes. Phelps is quoted as saying, "Swimming helped him manage his symptoms from a young age by keeping him focused and disciplined." Several years ago, a good friend of mine shared a video with me entitled "Be a Mr. Jensen." A must-watch for anyone that even remotely thinks that their child is busy or has ADHD. The video is a man describing that as a child, he was always in trouble. He was always sent to the principal's office, and he was always labeled as trouble. He couldn't sit still. He felt bad about himself in the duration. One year, a teacher spotted something different in him, saw him in a different light, and handed him a pair of drumsticks, and his life was forever changed. He had been a drummer ever since. He has been a drummer ever since. That has been his life and his focus and his career. Earlier this year, I received a phone call from the principal at Jet School. He was calling to tell me that they had been doing state testing this week, and that when the children were done, they were expected to go to the school across the street in the auditorium and watch a movie. Well, Jet and a couple friends had gotten into trouble. The details of how that case went down are still up for debate and really not relevant to today's story. I'm also not naive. I know my child is not perfect, and there are days he is naughty and does get into trouble. One of the other mothers in that equation, though, texted me and asked me my thoughts on the incident, what I believed and how I felt about it. We went back and forth via text for quite a while, and her messages really resonated with me. The other mom is the mother to boys, hockey players, and she's also a teacher. Here's a snippet of our chat. The other mom. To me, the accuracy of what happened lacked fidelity. There was no pattern of behavior established to warrant the punishment. There wasn't malicious intent. The other mom goes on with details not relevant to this blog post. I could go on some more, but I think the bottom line is there's a tendency for them to look for the worst in kids, she says. Me. I think I agree with all of that. I then go on with the details not relevant to this blog post. And I end with, I think there's this tendency to look badly at hockey boys. I've heard them say out loud more than once that they love the Fridays that hockey players are all gone. The other mom. Agreed. When people projected their own bias on little kids because they're hockey players, I have zero tolerance. Evolve, people. Even if that sentiment crossed my mind about a group of kids, I cannot imagine saying that out loud. Ugh, they are humans first. If you're getting from today that I think all hockey players have ADHD, all ADHD means wild, and that teachers are the problem, you better start back over at the beginning. What I want you to get from today is that all of this is our perspective and it's choices. People are choosing to see things the way they want. What I want you to do, though, is think about the type of child that plays hockey. Are they fast-paced, nonstop, on the go, on and off the ice? I also want you to think that ADHD is not bad and makes amazing, well-rounded humans. During semester break last year, electives changed. Half a year of health and half a year of PE credit are required. Last fall, Jet had health and weightlifting, so at semester change in January, I expected Jet to have PE. When he didn't, I went to the principal and talked to him about it. He explained that the schools are so full that there just isn't enough space for everyone to have a PE class, so Jet's weightlifting elective last fall counted as his PE credit. I begged him to look for a spot for Jet in a PE class, explained that even though Jet is in the 7th grade, he needs recess, and since they don't have it anymore, he needs an outlet during the day. The principal definitely heard me. He had encountered Jet and understood, and by the end of the day, Jet was the TA for the 6th grade PE teacher, and they had a wonderful semester together. She enjoyed Jet and sent me this message towards the end of the year. Happy Friday. I have Jet as a TA for my 6th grade PE. I wanted to let you know how much I enjoy having his help. He works well with the students and gets them in line when needed. He is a great leader. He is kind, helpful, and has a funny sense of humor. I'm so grateful the principal put him in this class to help, and I just wanted you to know how much I've enjoyed getting to know Jet and looking forward to an awesome rest of the year. Have a great weekend. Well, thank you for making it to the end. Today was a long one. I know they range anywhere from 5 minutes to average of 8 minutes to 12 minutes, and today we're at 18 minutes, but thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. This one has been on my writing to-do list for a long time and on my heart. So thank you.